Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. Today, I'll be explaining what we call MCP, Model Context Protocol. I'm very sure most of us have been hearing MCP, AI agent, and all of that. And actually, we are in the generative AI era. So where people use different LLMs, large language models, such as ChatGPT, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, XAI, Grok AI, and all of that. So I'm going to explain this particular protocol that makes things easier in terms of how we can actually use those LLM and apply it into different contexts. Maybe network engineer, a cloud engineer, even maybe like a system administrator. But today I'll be explaining it in terms of how a network engineer could understand what we call MCP. So MCP is actually called Model Context Protocol. So now let's go to the official website. So it's actually an open source standard, the same way we have HTTP, SNMP. It's a protocol, right, that is used to actually connect AI application to external systems. So AI is it's smart, it has it's a very nice system, but doesn't have data that is external to it. So what do I mean by that? All these LLMs are actually trained on large data sets, but it doesn't have the actual data when it comes to your own personal environment. For example, AI doesn't have, ChatGPT doesn't have the knowledge about your own particular Git repository or your Postgres, or maybe your Slack or your Google Map. All those things are your tools which are called the external system. So this cloud, this MCP is actually the protocol which can enable the cloud, the ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot to be able to connect to data source. Because we all know that AI hallucinates, right? But this MCP will actually guide the AI, the LLM, to the direct data source, pick it up, and then translate it, work on it, and provide the output in a format that the user will be able to understand. So this is just a few diagrams to it. So these are what we call the MCP clients. The MCP client can be your cloud desktop, a live chat, your IDE, cloud code, your Microsoft Copilot, and all of that can be your clients. So why the MCP is a protocol, I get it, and the output are your external data. So now let's explain it in terms of a network engineer. So we all are aware that if you want to configure your devices, maybe you use config T, show IP interface and all of that. You do it from the CLI, right? But what is MCP bringing into this picture? So on the left-hand side, right, on the right-hand side, I have the cloud desktop clients. Maybe that's what we call the MCP clients. So that's where you put your request in terms of a natural language. Okay, what is the IP of interface, so and so. Do you understand? So the MCP is going to send that command, send that that natural language that you just put on your text, send it to the MCP server. So the MCP server is your NetMiko script. The same way we have SNMP. You know, SNMP is Simple Network Management Protocol, right? So the same way we have SNMP that use a lot of different IDs and all of that. So there will be an MCP server that is running. So this MCP server would have an interface, or we'll call it what we call a tool. It's going to have a tool that could connect to your Cisco routers or switches. So on this MCP servers, that's where you have your NetMiko command and all of that, maybe the connect handler method and all scripts that you'd want to be able to connect to the device. So what the cloud desktop is going to do is that once you send your request, it goes directly to the MCP servers, and from the MCP servers to be able to connect to your devices. So everything that you need to do will be inside these MCP servers, which is your network, which is your Python scripts. It could be an API to code maybe a Catalyst Center, or an API on this MCP server to code Cisco ACI Center, or anything that you can actually query with API, or you can actually configure using Python. So this is the fundamentals, breaking down MCP to a network engineer so that they'll be able to understand. It's not really a buzzword, but it's something that you can apply into your day-to-day activity and day-to-day learning. So in the next session, I'm going to show you how you can actually build an MCP server for a Cisco router. And from the cloud desktop, we'll be chatting with our Cisco router, typing some commands. It's going to be an interesting stuff. So guys, thank you for this, for your time listening to this. So we'll see you in the next session. Bye.